Live in Western Oregon, this is NBC 16 Today.
Happy Tuesday. Welcome to another edition of NBC 16 Today. Lily, yesterday, an absolute scorcher, probably leaking into today as well.
Not fun.
I don't really like it.
And you know, we talked about it yesterday that we have to be fair. Some people might like this warm weather. So if you like it, congrats.
You're living your dream.
I myself do not.
Yeah.
So I'm ready to get to the back half of the
Once
week.
you get over that 90, mid-low 90s threshold, I tap out for the day.
Yeah.
I'm good. My dog, I'm sorry, you're going to go walk at night if we're lucky, if it's cooled off enough, but we'll do some mental play at home or something like that. Because once it gets that warm,
you got to be in the water. That's it.
Yeah,
that's
water,
all. That's all I'll
or
like
my house,
it for.
where the air conditioned and I control the climate.
There
and
you go.
yeah, that's the move. And unfortunately, going to be another one just like that today. We'll take a look at what exactly we're expecting to experience across the region as we move through our Tuesday. First of all, temperatures along the I-5 corridor dropping off while you see some warming trends out to the coast. Now, that is mostly because yesterday it was so warm on the I-5 corridor, so much cooler out on the coast. We're kind of finding that balance once again. Still seeing temperatures warmer along the I-5 corridor. Eugene, Corvallis up into the 60s, where Cottage Grove and Junction City have seen that cool down, which have brought you closer to what we're seeing out there along the coastline. It's Roseburg, no surprise to anybody. Silver Butte, this Umpqua Valley area, that is the warmest spot on our map as we kick off our Tuesday. That'll continue to be the theme as warm weather continues to roll through into the afternoon hours as well. Clear skies is a good sign, except it also means that those warm temperatures are going to have no problem firing right back up once we get to the afternoon hour. Something of note this morning before you head out the door, if you're living out on the coast, so there's some dense coastal fog throughout the region today. So if you're heading along the coastal highway or just live out there, be aware. Those dense pockets could become visibility interruptions for you. As you cruise through the day, clear skies all the way through the next 24 hours until tomorrow morning. You start to see some cloud coverage roll back in. It's a sign of what could be coming our way later this weekend. I'll let Brianna Chavez break that down in just a few. But like I said, for the rest of the day, I-5 corridor up into the upper 90s, Roseburg maybe up into triple digits, where the coast will be lagging quite a bit behind that, probably into the 70s as this warm weather continues to stick around. You know who's not in the warm weather? Our live shot buddy. Hopefully he's in the car with the air condition cranking, because even at this early morning hour, it's going to be a little bit warmer than typical out there along the I-5 at the Beltline interchange, where LSB is looking southbound along the highway. Looks like the southbound lane, light to medium traffic. Similar instance in the northbound lanes as well. Things looking pretty A-OK on those roadways. Of course, the road conditions remain dry. It's been a moment since we've seen extended moisture there. There's the buddy. It's a double thumbs up day out there on the I-5 because there are no vehicle accidents to report, nor any delays slowing you down. Nothing's getting in the way of my live shot buddy between his next traffic hit, his next mocha, all the things he'll be accomplishing on our Tuesday. Thanks, buddy. Stay safe out there.
Yeah, definitely stay safe and stay hydrated, LSB, because as Zach just mentioned just a few minutes ago, another day of hot temperatures are in the forecast today. With the hotter weather comes increased fire risk. The Oregon Department of Forestry wants you to be ready if or when you see a fire, regardless of the size. If you do see smoke coming out of a forest or wildland area, ODF says you should call 911 right away. But if the fire is smaller, they say there are steps you should take as well, especially if you're in a campground or near a forested area.
They may come upon a campfire that isn't completely out. It might have some still live embers, still be smoking a little bit. And for that, if they have the proper tools like a small shovel and some water on them, we recommend that they drown it with water, stir it with their tool, and repeat that until the embers are completely out. So it should be cold to the touch before they leave.
And hot weather not only increases fire danger, it increases the risk of heat exhaustion for firefighters too. You can find a full list of fire restrictions and fire tips on our website, NBC16.com.
An NBC 16 update this morning. 2 people are now dead and at least 10 hurt after this explosion on Monday at a U.S. steel plant near Pittsburgh. Local hospitals report some of those hurt were discharged within a few hours, and several are being treated at a level 1 trauma and burn center. Allegheny County officials say a fire started here just before 11 a.m. and you can see the dark smoke coming out of the plant. Late Monday night, the county's emergency services chief announced the search for workers was done.
Certainly doesn't close the incident as a whole. There's lots to be investigated, validate everything that occurred here, and our crews will continue to be here assisting U.S. Steel in that process of reviewing what occurred.
A U.S. Steel official says they're still trying to figure out what happened here. Officials did not give details on the damage to the plant.
We're waiting to learn more about the condition of a person pulled from the Willamette River on Saturday. Eugene Springfield Fire says search and rescue crews were called to the river around 6:45 p.m. for reports of a person swept away by the current and not resurfacing. The person was spotted downstream from the Owasso Bridge near Beltline Highway before crews located the victim below the surface about 30 minutes later and brought them to a waiting ambulance. The person was transported in critical condition. We asked ESF for an update and they told us they would provide more information later today.
Do you know this man? Coming to your screen here in just a moment. Dane County Sheriff's Office is looking for help identifying him because he's a person of interest in a criminal investigation. No word yet on what the investigation is, but he's described as 5'10", 180 pounds with black hair and a full beard. He's not considered a danger to the community, but if you have information, you're asked to call the sheriff's office.
In a developing story, Bay Area Hospital has announced that Quorum Health has terminated its letter of intent to merge with the hospital, backing out of the deal. The two sides entered a non-binding partnership in December in hopes of securing the future of the hospital. Negotiations began and were later extended in March after an agreement wasn't reached in the initial 90-day negotiating period. In a statement, hospital board chair Simon Alonzo said, quote, "The commitment of the board to preserving access to high-quality health care on the South Coast remains unchanged. Bay Area Hospital is essential to the health and well-being of our community, and we are focused on evaluating all possible options to ensure its long-term stability." Quorum CEO of Health also providing a statement saying, quote, "We felt that it would be appropriate for both sides to step back from the letter of intent process to allow time for Bay Area to focus on its operations to straighten access to health care in the region. As we conclude discussions, we walk away with deep respect for the Coos Bay's community's unwavering commitment to its hospital," end quote. And Zach, you know, I'm a little new to the area, haven't quite made my way to that part of the coast besides, you know, driving by heading to California. But if I'm gathering, there's not very many resources healthcare wise to begin with.
No, the Bay Area Hospital is the only hospital in quite some amount of space there on the coast. And if prior to this agreement with Quorum, there was some financial uncertainty for the hospital. So I'm sure we haven't heard much we haven't done the reporting yet. We haven't heard much from the hospital in the wake of this announcement. We're still working on that with our Dan Kelly there on the coast. But if there was this financial uncertainty before the merger was announced, after, I'm not sure that problem has been solved. Layer on top of that the uncertainty coming from federal funding due to lack of Medicare funding and the cuts made by the Trump administration. These sorts of rural hospitals are the ones that were at the highest level of risk to be on the chopping block as a result of that funding not being available anymore. So seeing them lose a partner, knowing that factor plays in as well, we'll continue to follow up, but can't be great news to see this merger falling through for the future of healthcare out there on the coast. And everywhere that then it feeds into as a result. The hospitals in our area are overwhelmed. Most hospitals throughout the country are. Time will tell exactly how deep this impact will go.